The food that they're eating does not have the flavour. You want high flavour food, grow your own and grow it in well mineralised soil. Obviously, when people live on fast food that is totally mineral deficient, they're going to be mineral deficient. But we're finding people today who are even eating a lot of fruits and vegetables and are finding out that they're mineral deficient, and it's because of the way that they're grown. So that is one of the reasons, and as you can see by what the research is showing, even 92% of DNA damage is being caused by a mineral deficiency. We've lost the glue that's gluing us together. Chemicals. It is estimated 30,000 new chemicals are introduced to mankind every year. You have no say over the neighbour, but you have total say over what is in your house. Make a decision to become chemical free and go for organically grown fruits and vegetables as much as possible. Be cautious about what some of the things that are in the supermarket. We had a pest control man do our program. He said to me, there are things in that supermarket that I'm not allowed by law to use. What would they be? Some of those oven cleaners, some of those bleachers, they're very toxic.
Did you know that many chronic diseases, including cancer and autoimmune disorders, can be traced back to DNA damage? Our body is composed of trillions of cells, each containing DNA, the blueprint of life that determines how our body grows, repairs, and functions. DNA is essential for maintaining our health, but what happens when the human body is exposed to harmful substances, radiation, or chronic stress? Over time, these factors can damage our DNA, leading to mutations, premature aging, and a higher risk of disease. There are everyday habits, environmental toxins, and even foods that can silently harm your cells and weaken your body's ability to repair itself. So, what are the things that damage your DNA and cells, and how can you protect yourself from them? Stay tuned as we unveil the hidden dangers that threaten your health and explore practical ways to safeguard your body's most vital blueprint. As a thank you for joining me today, we're giving away 100 free copies of my best-selling book to subscribers. So if you haven't yet, hit subscribe, like this video, and comment why you want to win.
Right down in the middle of each cell is the DNA. The DNA is the genetic code. It's inside the nucleus, and it's the genetic code that determines whether you or I have blue eyes or brown hair or straight hair or curly hair. Nothing will ever change that. But in 1953, headlines in the newspaper stated Secret of Life had been discovered. Watson and Crick's, two scientists, had been able to unravel the DNA. That genetic code inside every cell. Did you know that if you pull that DNA out, it's 2 meters long? Let's have a look at the DNA. I think we've all seen illustrations of it. 23 chromosomes from our mother. My mother's chromosomes determine I have blue eyes. 23 chromosomes from our father. My father's chromosomes determine that I'm short. That at 61 I still have brown hair. We do it with each other. We do it with our brothers and our sisters and our children and our aunts and our uncles and our grandparents. It's always a fascinating subject to see which line comes through in each person. When you address that DNA and look what it's made up of, the crossword bands are made up of amino acids. And amino acids, very simply, is a breakdown from the protein that we eat. It's like a veritable library, this DNA. And if you were to put all the information into alphabetical language, it would fill 1,000 pages with 1,000 books and 1,000 letters on each page. That's incredible, isn't it? What about the outward strands? They're made up of polysaccharides. Polysaccharides simply means many sugars. And basically, polysaccharides is in just about everything that we eat. Our grains, our legumes, our nuts, our seeds, our fruits and vegetables, many sugars. And the substance that glues these amino acid strands to the outside bands of the polysaccharides is minerals. And the food that is the highest in minerals is vegetables. And the vegetable that is the highest in minerals is your dark green leafy vegetables. Hippocrates, called the father of medicine, he made a statement that's often quoted. He said, "Let food be your medicine and medicine be your food." And he did not know about the DNA. He did not know that our very food makes up our DNA. And when I look at some supermarket trolleys, I think, how will their DNA ever remake them properly? Because the very nutrients required to make this DNA are deficient in your foods that are deficient, like all your fast food. But foods that are grown in the ground and eaten very quickly after they've been picked are very high in these basic things. We are constantly being remade, and we're being remade according to the DNA. Did you know that our eye cells are remade every 1 to 2 days? That's why if people have eye surgery, it's usually day surgery. They heal very, very quickly. The next quickest are the cells that line our gastrointestinal tract. They're remade every 3 to 5 days. We've got a new skin every month. Where does the old skin go? That's why we vacuum the floor. That's why we change our clothes and wash them. That's why we change our sheets, because our skin cells are constantly shedding. We have new bones about every 3 months. We have a new liver about every 6 weeks. So we're constantly being remade. I think it takes approximately 2 years. After 2 years, we have a new body.
If our bodies are constantly being remade, then why do so many people struggle with chronic illness and slow healing? The answer lies in what we are providing our cells to work with. Every single cell requires proper nutrients to function, repair, and regenerate. When the building blocks, proteins, minerals, vitamins, and essential fats, are missing or of poor quality, the body struggles to rebuild itself properly. One of the biggest issues today is the depletion of nutrients in our food. Modern agricultural practices have stripped the soil of essential minerals, meaning that even fresh fruits and vegetables may not be as nutrient-dense as they once were. On top of that, processed foods filled with preservatives, artificial ingredients, and excessive sugar dominate many people's diets, further depriving cells of what they need. But it's not just food. Hydration plays a crucial role. Our bodies are made up of about 70% water, and every cellular process depends on it. Dehydration thickens the blood, slows circulation, and makes it harder for nutrients to reach the cells and for waste products to be eliminated. Without enough clean, natural water, our bodies cannot function optimally. Another key factor is toxicity. Every day, we are exposed to chemicals in the air, water, household products, and personal care items. The liver works hard to filter out these toxins, but when it becomes overwhelmed, the body stores them in fat cells, leading to inflammation and disease over time. Supporting the liver through clean eating, sweating, and reducing exposure to toxins is essential for healing. When given the right conditions, nutrient-dense food, clean water, movement, rest, and reduced toxicity, the body has an incredible ability to heal itself. The key is removing the barriers that prevent healing and giving the cells the resources they need to rebuild properly.
One form of chemicals, not often seen as such, is drug therapy. Drugs never cure disease, they just change the form and location of the disease, and I'm referring to their side effects. Now, if someone's been on say, antidepressants or cortisone drugs for many years, I do caution you must not stop them straight away. It's important, if you are on any medication, to find someone who can work with you to show you alternatives and slowly come off them. It can be quite dangerous to stop them outright. Genetically modified foods. Genetically modified foods cause cancer because genetically modified foods are a result of the DNA of two species being spliced together. For instance, the DNA of an Atlantic salmon with the DNA of a tomato spliced together in the hope that a tomato will be created that will grow in the snow. But actually they don't usually result in that, and there's this huge grey area. They do not know the full effect on human beings, but what is known is the substances that are broken down in the body after eating genetically modified foods are not known in the body and have the ability to tamper and even damage our DNA. Electromagnetic field excess. We are electrical people. We have a spark of electricity in every cell. Our nervous system specifically is our electrical system. Electromagnetic field has the ability to tamper or interfere with your electromagnetic field, causing damage at the cellular level, even at the DNA level. In humans, they are 10 hertz. That's the electromagnetic field in humans. And that's, I think it's 10 revolutions per second. And with huge power lines, you often get a 50 hertz, and it's well known to cause damage at the cellular level. The farmer knows that he cannot let his cattle graze under those huge towers because stillborns will be a result, even deformities in the little calves. My children used to like going up to the huge towers. It was about 1 kilometre away from where we lived when they were little, or when they were adolescent. And they would find everlasting daisies with 5 centres. They would find all this mutation in plant life underneath these big electrical towers. So if these towers have the ability to tamper with the DNA of plants and the DNA of animals, what about the DNA of humans? Absolutely. It was never allowed that houses could be built under those huge towers, but I see in housing states today they're there. And they are a contributing factor to damage of the DNA, even to contributing to disease in the human body. Be very careful of the room that you're sleeping in. We spend 1/3 of our life in that room. Be careful of any electrical equipment in your room. Don't charge your mobile phone in your bedroom, or your iPhone, iPad, iPod, computer, television. If you've got no choice, try and do it way over in the far corner. So always address where you're sleeping. Even where the head of your bed is, the wall, make sure there's not the meter box the other side of the wall. Also, stimulants. Stimulants have the ability to tamper with your DNA. And as I go through this, you will see what I mean by this. One is sugar. We have 400 diabetics being diagnosed every day in Australia at the moment. That's an epidemic.
Caffeine is another stimulant that can interfere with the body's natural functions. Many people rely on coffee or energy drinks to get through the day, but excessive caffeine consumption can put stress on the nervous system, disrupt sleep patterns, and lead to adrenal fatigue. Over time, this can weaken the body's ability to heal and maintain balance, making it more susceptible to disease. Artificial sweeteners, often marketed as healthier alternatives to sugar, are another hidden danger. Substances like aspartame and sucralose have been linked to neurological issues, metabolic disorders, and even DNA damage. Processed foods also play a significant role in damaging our health. Many of these foods contain preservatives, artificial colours, and chemical additives that the body struggles to process. These substances accumulate in our systems, burdening the liver and other detoxifying organs. Over time, this toxic buildup can lead to chronic inflammation, hormonal imbalances, and weakened immunity. This is why it's so important to eat whole, natural foods whenever possible. Another major concern is the exposure to household chemicals. Many cleaning products, air fresheners, and even personal care items contain toxic ingredients that can be absorbed through the skin or inhaled. Long-term exposure to these chemicals has been associated with respiratory problems, hormonal disruptions, and even cancer. Opting for natural alternatives such as vinegar, baking soda, and essential oils can help reduce the toxic load on the body.
Anger. I have a book called Lessons from Water by a Japanese scientist, and he did a lot of research on water. Now, when you put water under a microscope, it has the same shapes that snow has, and he found that when he shouted at the water, had heavy rock music, anger, violence, and then he'd look at the water under the microscope and the perfect forms would all be marred. And then he would do another experiment where he had classical music and love, joy, peace, even those words. What he found amazing was if he put the word hate on the jar that the water was, it marred them. If you put the word love on the jar where the water was, it didn't mar them at all. Interesting. And we are much water. We are 75% water from the neck down, 85% water from the neck up. And so when a person is constantly subjected to anger and violence, it can damage the cells to the point of even damaging the DNA. Now, if you're feeling very discouraged right now at this list because you may tick every box, I've got some very good news. When you stop the things that are causing the problems, very quickly the body starts to respond and starts to heal itself. Fungus. If you look in nature, you will see that fungus can splice into the DNA of many plants. I look out the window and I see a casuarina pine tree and I see lichen growing on the bark. How did it grow? How does it grow on the bark? It splices into the DNA of the plant and reproduces itself through the plant. David Attenborough has a show on ants, and these ants are under the ground, and this type of ant grows a mold or a fungus, and the waste coming off, it rolls into little balls and stores as its food. But they found that these ants did shift work. So each ant only tended the fungus for half an hour at a time. Because if the ant tends the fungus for more than half an hour, the fungus can actually splice into the DNA of the ant. Whew. What I'd like to look at now is fungus. And by looking at fungus, we also address the germ theory. Fungus is a microorganism. Microorganisms, by their very word, are microscopic and they're living organisms. Microorganisms are everywhere. They're in the air, they're on our skin, on our clothes, on everything we look at, there are microorganisms. They're everywhere. They're inside the human body. There are 10 times more microorganisms in our human body compared to cells. And the largest concentration is found in the gastrointestinal tract. There are 10 times more there than anywhere else in the body. And whenever cell damage happens, these microorganisms have the ability to change roles. You see, if the environment changes, their role changes. And whenever cell damage happens, these microorganisms now become the cleanup team. One microbiologist said to me, we call them the garbage collectors because that's their role on the planet. So that's what the microbiologists call bacteria. It's an opportunist organism, and the more filth you find, the more bacteria that you will find. As the environment changes, the bacteria changes roles, or the microorganisms change their roles. And they go from being the garbage collectors to being the exterminators, which is your yeast and your fungus. We find them very busy on the rainforest floor, don't we? They're exterminating the matter on the rainforest floor. As the environment changes, they change. They now become the undertakers. and undertakers are taking away dead things. Their name is mould. That's what it does. And it's not long after the mould stage that the matter is now brought back to dust.
And this cycle happens continuously in nature. When something dies, microorganisms begin their work. First, bacteria arrive to break down the simpler compounds. Then yeast and fungus take over to decompose the more complex materials. Finally, mold completes the process, returning everything to dust, which then nourishes new life. This is a crucial part of the ecosystem, ensuring that organic matter is recycled instead of accumulating. But what happens when this process starts inside the human body? The same microorganisms that decompose dead matter outside can become active inside us when the conditions are right. If the body is in a poor state, filled with toxins, excessive sugar, or lacking oxygen, these microorganisms shift roles. Instead of being harmless helpers, they become active agents of decay. Consider a person who consumes large amounts of processed food, sugar, and unhealthy fats. These foods create an acidic and low oxygen environment in the body, which encourages bacteria and fungi to flourish in harmful ways. Over time, this can lead to infections, chronic fatigue, and even more severe conditions where cells begin to deteriorate at a faster rate. Many diseases, including cancer, thrive in acidic and low oxygen environments. Dr. Otto Warburg, a Nobel Prize-winning scientist, discovered that cancer cells cannot survive in an oxygen-rich environment. He found that when cells are deprived of oxygen, they start fermenting sugar, which is the exact process that yeast and fungi use to grow. So what can be done? The key is to change the environment inside the body. When the body is given the right conditions, plenty of oxygen, a proper pH balance, and nutrient-rich foods, the microorganisms return to their harmless roles, supporting digestion and immune function instead of contributing to decay. Deep breathing, exercise, and a plant-based diet filled with fresh vegetables, healthy fats, and clean water can create an internal environment where disease struggles to survive. Just as nature balances itself, the body can restore balance when given the right tools. It's also important to manage stress, as negative emotions like anger and fear can affect the body's chemistry. Studies have shown that chronic stress weakens the immune system, making it easier for harmful microorganisms to take over. This ties back to the research on water. If our thoughts and words can influence the structure of water, and we are mostly water, then our mindset plays a direct role in our health. By creating a healthy, balanced environment inside and outside the body, we can support our cells, strengthen our immune system, and promote long-lasting well-being. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on more health tips. Stay healthy, stay informed, and we'll see you in the next one.